It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 6 films of September 21st, 2007. On today's show, we have another installment of a very pointless film series, Dane Cook's latest comedy, Amanda Bynes' latest comedy, Sean Penn's latest film starring Emile Hirsch, a star-studded cast in a movie about Jane Austen books, and also Brad Pitt in another really good Western from around this time period. So we have a lot to get to here, a wide assortment of films. So let's go ahead and just jump on into it, and we'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, even though it's not really a good movie, Resident Evil Extinction.
Just hours away from the ordinary, there's a place where anything goes, where the excitement never ends and the party never dies. And the party never dies.
Yeah, pay no attention once again to the really cool teaser trailer, because as we saw with the last film, these movies are not really as good as the marketing is. And yeah, this is another one of those movies that, even though Paul W. S. Anderson's nowhere near this movie except for the script, his wife is still in the movie, so yeah, and he's still involved in it too, so it really doesn't matter if he's directing it or not. This is going to end up being bad. And once again, you have Milla Jovovich returning as Alice, who, along with a group of survivors from Raccoon City, attempt to travel across the Mojave Desert wilderness to Alaska and escape a zombie apocalypse. And once again, just like the other movies, they have somewhat of an idea of what the games are about, but once again, they fail miserably at giving you a really entertaining movie. And once again, with this film, they have nothing really to give you except for stuff you've seen before, done so many times, so much better in other movies. And yeah, there's just nothing of value here whatsoever. Everybody in here is kind of bland. There's no real stakes in this movie. Everyone's just doing the same thing they've been doing in the last couple of movies. You never get a sense that there's an involvement of the characters in these whatsoever. You just feel like that this is a film made solely for people that have no idea what these films are about or what these games are about, and just wanted to make a quick buck because of the name recognition. That's it. That's all this movie really is. It's just a cash grab sequel to two films that were somewhat successful before, and they come out on opening weekend, and then everyone goes to see it, and then no one sees it again afterwards. I mean, that's what these movies have basically become. Just pointless movies that have no value whatsoever. They are not the same movie as the video games that they're based on. And the film, once again, just leaves you completely empty when it's all said and done. I mean, that's really how I feel about these movies in general. I do not like a single one of these movies, and this one might be the better of the movies in here, but it's still not a great movie overall, so yeah, a skip on that film. And the shit gets even tighter with the next movie we have here. We have Dane Cook in his latest comedy, that is Good Luck, Chuck.
I'd like to propose a toast to Charlie for being my lucky charm.
Women call him.
You're that Charlie?
What Charlie? Good Luck, Chuck.
Whoa. You're a lucky charm. You have sex with someone and then they find their true love. Isn't that how it works?
Has everybody lost their minds? That's ridiculous.
I guess you are a lucky charm.
Do you want to have sex before or after dinner?
Actually, I have dinner plans.
Buddy, you got the ticket to the big show.
You have 108 messages. Yeah, I don't do that with men. This is Molly. Danielle. Stacy.
This is Bob. Just hear me out.
But now...
I'm Kim.
I'm Charlie.
Sorry.
Yes!
Fess up about this charm. It's quite a scam you got going.
No, it's not me.
People will believe whatever they want to believe.
What seems like a blessing
Kim's the one, man.
What makes you think I'll be kissing you, huh?
All right.
Feels like a curse.
If you sleep with her, she's gonna marry the next guy she dates.
Hey, that's not true.
I started calling all your exes. They're married.
It's real.
I really hate you.
I gotta go. You look great. I had a good time. I gotta go.
To get the girl of his dreams, Chuck will do anything.
I've got to put the curse to the test.
With anyone.
Eleanor Skeppel. This chick ain't never getting married.
I actually thought that maybe we could get physical.
I'm gonna ride you till you die.
True love
Not now. Wait till I get this.
has never been so hard.
Come over.
I want to. I just don't think that we should.
Does your phone receive pictures?
Dane Cook, Jessica Alba. Good luck, Chuck.
What's sex without love?
Sex! It's still sex!
You like that obnoxious, loud comedy? I hope you do, because that's the majority of the film. In fact, that is the entire film. Everything about this movie was... I mean, I'll be honest, when I saw it at first, I didn't hate it. I thought it was actually okay, but yeah, as time has gone on and I haven't seen this movie in so many years, I realized that, yeah, everybody was right when they first saw this. This is about as bad as it gets. But it does have a good premise to it. You have this guy named Chuck, played by Dane Cook, who's a dentist, and, you know, he has sex with all these women, and then they find their one true love after having sex when they were teenagers, they were kids. This kid is, this one goth girl. They were like in a game of spin the bottle, 7 minutes in heaven, and because he refused to make out with her, she basically puts a hex on her, and it essentially gives every person that he ever has sex with, a chance to find their true love with the next person that they meet. And so he meets this girl played by Jessica Alba, who is a clumsy person. And that trailer doesn't tell you that. I mean, the trailer makes it feel like that she's doing this knowing that she knows what the curse is. But no, she's a klutz. Like, she's a professional klutz overall and tries to become her true love. And he knows that if he has sex with her, she's going to end up meeting she's going to end up meeting her one true love, and it's not going to be him. And there is a good idea here with this movie. There could be a lot done with this movie with a better director. If the Farrelly brothers were involved in this, I feel like they could have made a better movie. It's not like Dane Cook is bad in the movie. I mean, he's the one that's trying to push it together. And I mean, he's not terrible. It's just... the film itself is just loud and obnoxious and just cruel. I mean, this movie is just unbelievably bad on so many levels. You hate every single person in this movie. Dane Cook is the only one that comes out of this movie somewhat likable because he's stuck in this situation here. And he's stuck in this idea that he has no idea how to keep this one girl from moving on to somebody else. But then again, it doesn't help when he's surrounded by the most obnoxious people on the planet. Dan Fogler in this movie is so goddamn annoying. He is such a terrible supporting character and best friend because, yeah, he's not really much of a best friend in this movie. You know that big woman you see in the trailer there? Like, he does this whole thing where, he goes out, he sleeps with her, and then there's a point where he has to wait to see what happens if she finds her one true love. And so he says to Dan Fogler, yeah, go ask her to marry her, go on a date with her, go ask her to marry her. And, he tells her that she does it, that he does it with her. And then, Dane Cook thinks it's okay to have sex with Jessica Alba. And then he gets a phone call from him later that night saying, oh, by the way, I didn't do it. I never really did it. I just did it so I could get you off my back. And it's just like, asshole. Complete asshole of a character. And it would be something if Jessica Alba was a likable person too, but no, you hate her too in this movie because of just how obnoxious she is, how clumsy she is. Like, yeah, I get it, she's a klutz and all that, but they just take everything to extremes in this movie. Everything that could be good about this movie is just thrown out the door because it's a film that is really just out there to be the most obnoxious, most loud, and over-the-top movie ever without being funny one bit. There's not one moment in this movie that I laughed at. Like, even if you're going to see this for, like, it's an R-rated comedy, so you're going to see some boobs, because, some nudity and all that. Nope, don't even get, you get that, but even then, when you get it, it's just kind of like, wow. There's nothing about this that's worth it in the end. I mean, yeah, you've got boobs up on the screen, but we have this thing called the internet. It was around in 2007. So this is the point of making this movie. Like, like I said, it's a good idea, but without a good director or a good writer to come in there and really make this film actually be worth it. I feel like a really good movie could be made with this if everybody that's in the movie isn't an obnoxious or loud or annoying person. And that's nearly everybody in this movie, that you feel so bad for Dane Cook because he's the sanest one of the entire group in this movie. And, to his credit, he was, like I said, he's not bad in the movie. Like, he's the one thing that he comes out of this movie relatively unscathed because he's the one that's the least obnoxious compared to everybody else in the movie. And this was a really good year for him in terms of movies where he actually gets to show what he can do as an actor. Mr. Brooks is a good movie with him really showing what he can do. And we'll get to another movie he's in later on in about a month's time now. But as far as this movie goes, man, this movie is so obnoxious. It's so annoying. It's unfunny. It is such a flabbergasting mess of a film where there's so much potential there, but without a really good writer to come in there, a writer and director to come in there and really show the true potential of this, you get this loud, obnoxious, annoying, unfunny movie. Avoid this movie like the plague. It is one of the worst comedies you'll ever see. So, with all of that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Amanda Bynes as Sydney White.
Rachel is the campus queen.
Hi, Sydney. Oh, hi.
Sydney is just trying to fit in.
You're new here?
Except the shoes.
No, I love the shoes.
They have nothing in common
We have a situation.
except him.
That's how it always starts.
I don't like him like that. Only a little. When his shirt's off. Sydney White must die a social death.
Amanda Bynes is Sydney White. Rated PG-13. Starts September 21st.
I mean, the bitch had it coming when she had that Baltimore Ravens shirt on. How dare you? But no, I'm just kidding. This is coming from a Steeler fan here, but as you can see from back there. But Sydney White, this is pretty much what you expect from a modern retelling of Snow White. It's a modern retelling of the story with a beautiful college freshman as she pledges her late mother's once dignified sorority. But after discovering that today's sisterhood is not what it used to be, Sydney finds her new home away with 7 outcasts. With the help of her socially challenged new friends, Sydney will take on the reigning campus queen to attempt to transform the school's misguided social bureaucracy. So, it's kind of a mix between Revenge of the Nerds and The House Bunny, except unlike those movies, which were actually really good and actually really funny and actually had a message behind it, the message in this movie gets so stuck behind the true potential of what this thing could really be. And, kind of like with Good Luck Chuck, the idea is there for a good movie. I mean, a modern retelling of Snow White done with a college campus. I mean, the potential is there, and Amanda Bynes has proven time and time again how good of an actor she can really be. But in this movie, it really does feel like everybody's just phoning it in. Nobody's really giving it their all, and they know they have to stick with a certain rating on here, because this is a PG-13 rated movie. They can't go to the R-rated extremes that Revenge of the Nerds did, but at least you gotta go more deeper than that, man. This feels more like a PG movie than a PG-13 film. The House Bunny was PG-13, and that was more risque than this movie was. Nothing about this movie is really that great in here. The nerds in here aren't that funny. They're not that great either. Sarah Paxton playing the rival college girl is not a threat whatsoever. And like I said, Amanda Bynes feels like she's just phoning it in with this film in general. I mean, the possibilities are there for a good movie, but it just isn't here. And it's really, it really is a lackluster film that has so much potential to it with its plot and what they could do with a modern version of this, but it's just not there. It's a waste of your time. It's a film that is not clever or funny in any way, shape, or form. And it's a real disappointment because, like I said, there's a lot of good ideas in here that could be done. And unlike a good movie like Good Luck Chuck, you do want to get behind it because there are good ideas in here. And sometimes they do get a little chuckles here and there, but not enough for me to say I should recommend this movie to people, unfortunately. Yeah, Sydney White, a good idea, just bad execution. Another one of those movies that has that same problem. So let's get to some good movies. Finally, we've had 3 stinkers, and of course we've got Oscar season coming up here. So let's get some really good movies here. Let's start with Sean Penn's latest film, Emile Hirsch in Into the Wild.
Your great Alaskan adventure.
want something in life, reach out and grab it.
So this is, of course, based on the true story of Christopher McCandless, who was known as Alexander Supertramp. This was based off of his story that was later adapted into a book called Into the Wild by John Krakauer. And in the movie, it has Hirsch as McCandless, where he's a man who's hiking across North America into the Alaskan wilderness in the early 1990s. And he comes across all these different people, including Kristen Stewart, Vince Vaughn, Jenna Malone, Catherine Keener, Hal Holbrook, his mother and father played by Marcia Gay Harden and William Hurt. And unfortunately, this guy that this was based off of passed away in 1992. And this was the story of how he went on this journey all across the Alaskan wilderness. And it's a really damn good movie. It's probably Sean Penn's best overall movie as a director, because he wrote this, he directed this, and produced it. He's got such a great cast to work with here. Everybody plays their parts in this movie very well. And Emile Hirsch really does show his acting chops in this movie. This is a film where, it shows everybody that, hey, this kid who was in The Girl Next Door a couple of years ago actually can be a pretty good actor. And he really does command the screen overall. You feel the intensity of what he's doing. You get behind why he's doing this, even though people are telling him he's crazy for doing this. But it makes for a really good movie and a very entertaining film with a lot of good elements to it. A lot of great visuals. The Alaskan wilderness looks pretty impressive overall. It's a really good character study on this guy in general. This guy who did this and how, he regrets it, but at the same time he doesn't kind of regret it at times. And it's a really entertaining film. It's a really great film. One of the year's best movies, Into the Wild. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. I do recommend it a lot. It's one of the best movies of the year. So with that said, let's move on to our next movie, and that is the Jane Austen Book Club.
Movie theaters now. The Jane Austen Book Club.
6 people will each be responsible for one book.
All Jane Austen, all the time.
This movie is a celebration, hails Roger Ebert. Sense and sexuality. The perfect date movie. A delight, a joy to watch. USA Today calls it entertaining and endearing. Smart and sexy. The Jane Austen Book Club, rated PG-13. Now playing in select cities, opens in movie theaters everywhere October 5th.
So essentially the Joy Luck Club, except for white people. I mean, that's white women, I should say. It's pretty much that movie in general, where you have a book club formed specifically to discuss the 6 novels written by Jane Austen. And as they delve into Austen's literature, the book club members find themselves dealing with life experiences that parallel the themes of the books that they are reading. This is based off of a book of the same name by Karen Joy Fowler, and a pretty stacked cast, as you saw there. Maria Bello, Emily Blunt, Kathy Baker, Hugh Dancy, Amy Brenneman, Maggie Grace, Jimmy Smits, Mark Blucas, Lynn Redgrave, Nancy Travis is in here, Kevin Zegers, Parisa Fitzhenley. A lot of names in the movie in general. The concept overall is pretty interesting. You have these characters going through these different storylines that they're following from the specific books that they have. Like, there's segments that parallel, Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, Mansfield Park, Emma, all these different stories in general here. It's a good concept, but not a great movie overall. I think the one thing that does carry it compared to some of the other movies we've talked about on here that had good ideas but not so great execution is that the cast overall really does give it their all in this movie, and they really are trying their best to get something going from this film in general, and they work off each other very well here. Everybody plays their parts to a T. The storylines I wish could have been a little bit more deeper than they actually are, but this is a film that's clearly going for the older female audiences, the ones that would go to see movies like, A.B. for Brady or Palms like that. And if we're going on that front there, I would rather see a movie like this and have to waste your time with terrible movies like 80 for Brady or Book Club or Palms. But overall, not a bad movie, but not a great one either. So that's the Jane Austen Book Club. So let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here, and that is The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
The reward is $50,000 for the capture of the James gang.
I've been a nobody all my life. I'm prepared for this.
The story of the most notorious outlaw in American history.
You want to be like me, or you want to be me?
Will finally be told.
You have something to confess. You spit it out now.
The Assassination of Jesse James. Look for it on DVD and high definition.
I pity the poor theater workers that had to go, whenever they had to put the marquee for the new movie, someone told them, yeah, we're going to get Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, so go ahead and start putting the title up there, and it's just like, you have to put those letters up there, like, God help those people that had to do that, unfortunately. But hey, at least it was for a good movie overall, so there was that. This is based off of a novel of the same name by Ron Hansen, and it's basically the dramatization of the relationship between Jesse James and Robert Ford. Jesse James being played by Brad Pitt and Robert Ford being played by Casey Affleck. And it focuses on the events that lead up to the titular killing. And if a cast also includes Sam Shepard, Mary Louise Parker, Paul Schneider, Jeremy Renner, Zooey Deschanel, and Sam Rockwell. And it was a really good movie, and this is, like I said before, this was around that time when we were getting some really good westerns again. Like, these were westerns that, you know, for the longest time, I always thought the western was one of my least enjoyable genres. But, you know, after watching stuff like, you know, Unforgiven, Open Range, 310 to Yuma, True Grit, and now this, it's just like, maybe I like more westerns than I thought that I let on beforehand. Because, yeah, this is a really damn good movie. Highlighted by Brad Pitt and Casey Affleck in these two roles here. This was a really good year for Casey Affleck, too, because not too long after this, he would star in Gone Baby Gone, which is a great film overall. But here he's really working it very well here. He has to work opposite a heavyweight in Brad Pitt, and they're both working off each other so well. You buy their chemistry, you buy why they would work together, but at the same time, you buy why one of them would want the other out of the picture altogether. And it's a long movie. It is a film I think that's over 3 hours long, if I'm not mistaken. If not that, very close. 160 minutes, so close to it, 3 hours. But you're hooked in through the course of the movie. It's never boring. You do get so intense with. Let me rephrase this. You get so enthralled in what's going on here that, you know, it's one of those movies where it knows it's doing its job well when you can't even tell you've been sitting there for 3 hours. And when the movie is over and you see it's been almost 3 hours after you first sat down, it's just like, wow, I can't believe that actually time went by that fast. It also helps you got a lot of good performances in here, a lot of good storylines. Roger Deakins with great cinematography, one of the great cinematographers of our time. Everything about the movie works really well. It's a very underrated western that sadly did not get the proper appreciation when it came out. It was a decent hit with critics, but the box office was not as strong. But then again, it doesn't help when your whole title is literally a sentence, pretty much. Yeah, one ticket for the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Jingleheimer Schmidt, whatever. Like, I don't know, but I mean, personally, I think you could just say Assassination of Jesse James, and then people would know what you're talking about, but I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking too much about it, but bottom line, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford is a great western that is very underrated, and one you should definitely check out. It's easily the best film this director, Andrew Dominik, has done, because he also did Killing Them Softly, and more recently he did Blonde, which was a film that it had its moments. I thought Anna de Armas was really good as Marilyn Monroe, but the rest of the movie itself is pretty lame in general. This film here, though, is easily the best thing this director has done, and it's one I do recommend checking out. If you like stuff like True Grit, Open Range, Appaloosa, 310 to Yuma, I think you can enjoy this one a lot, even despite its long running time. It's one I highly recommend. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. And so, with all of that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we'll wrap September up with 6 more new movies, including Dwayne Johnson's latest film, this time from Disney, The Game Plan, the star-studded The Kingdom from Peter Berg with Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Garner, and Chris Cooper, Feast of Love, another ensemble piece of a movie, The Darjeeling Limited, Wes Anderson's latest feature, Lust Caution, the latest film from Ang Lee, and Outsourced, which is a film that you may not remember, but you'll certainly remember the television series that came out a few years later that was very much not like the movie, but we'll delve into all of that when we get to meeting here again next time around on this show. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button, as well as the bell, because you get updates on when new videos come out, and we do post here every single day. And don't go too far away, because after I'm done uploading this, we have a new Time About the Movies flashback coming your way with 7 movies on the first weekend of August 1987, with Stakeout with Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez, Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren as He-Man, the criminally underrated Back to the Beach, Madonna in Who's That Girl, Nadine, The Care Bears Adventure in Wonderland, and Happy New Year. So we'll take a look at all those movies on Time About the Movies flashback. That'll be coming up right after I post this, so stick around, because we will be right back.